welcome to the channel and welcome to this narrative game of Warhammer 40,000. This is a combat patrol between Thousand Suns and Fallen Dark Angels. I am Say Hi Paul in association with DeploymentZone.tv. So today on the channel we are continuing the series The War of the Ten Legions. This is a series of battles between the forces of the traitor legions warring in the Eye of Terror over the 10,000 years. All of the backbiting, all of the treachery, the deals, the betrayals, the fight for survival. And as I said, today it is Thousand Suns against Fallen Dark Angels. This is a series I've been running largely not for channel members. It just so happens that most of the battle reports have ended up on the membership side. I think this is the 9th one in the series, I think. My goal is for every Traitor Legion to play every other Traitor Legion. Oh yes, it is. But before we get too far into the delicious narrative, just a few points to go through for those people who are new to the channel. So before you get invested in watching this battle report, I want to mention that all my battle reports have a very heavy narrative focus. They also have a very distinctive style. The feeling I want to get with these games is that you're joining me in my garage for a game on a Friday night, or in this instance, a Saturday afternoon. So I do tend to ramble quite a bit, and the production values are often quite poor with shaky camera angles and all sorts. This is meant to just feel like a game with your mates. Also, these games, largely for COVID reasons, but also because it really seems to work for me, these games are all played against myself. I play both sides. And I play them, I do my very, very best to play them without bias and see how the story unfolds. The last thing just to mention is, again, for narrative reasons, 9th edition is the competitive edition of 40k, so I have a number of house rules for narrative purposes, and these are they. There is a video about this if you want more detail about why, but just to quickly go through it, I don't put a plus or minus 1 limit on dice roll modifiers. I say characters can charge with units. So if you've got a character and a unit that are in coherency with each other, and they're both going to charge the same target or targets, I make one dice roll, and they either both succeed or both fail. Then if they succeed, they both move. Then everything goes back to normal. I don't use command point rerolls, and I don't limit the number of times a stratagem can be used in a given phase. Also, if reinforcements arrive on the board, I do not pay reinforcement points for it. Couple of others that may come up today. I don't scale the casting cost of Smite, and I don't restrict the number of casting to the same psychic power in the same phase. But the most important rule I have is apply what I like to call narrative common sense. If something doesn't feel right from a narrative perspective, I change it. Because that's what I think would happen were this a real situation being played out. The last big one to mention, because it applies to both armies in this series, is that so this is being filmed since the Chaos Space Marine Codex for the Space Marine Codex for 9th edition is out, as is the Death Guard Codex, but there are no other Chaos Codices. And because GW have given all first generation Marines 2 wounds, I give every Traitor Marine, every Chaos Marine, an extra wound. It applies to both sides, just more wounds to reflect the fact that they are the same biological makeup as their Emperor Bothering cousins. So what is the scenario? Well, we are on a small light cruiser, which is currently owned, insofar as anything can be owned in the Eye of Terror, by Cypher and a number of fallen Dark Angels. Many ships, many vehicles, space stations, they change hands all the time in the Eye of Terror as people are betrayed, boarded, deals are done, things are bartered, and so on. This is a small light frigate, and the Thousand Suns are how can I put it? Duplicitous. They have their own reasons for doing what they do. They are manipulating the fates, and in this particular scenario, for some future reason, the Thousand Suns are boarding this vessel to take out these fallen because it suits their purposes in their future manipulation of the skeins of fate. What that end goal might be, who is to say? That could be a novel in itself. However, for their purposes, these fallen angels must be defeated, and this vessel must fall into the hands of the Thousand Suns. So they have performed a ritual. This vessel is in flight. They're not boarding it with boarding torpedoes. They're not waiting for it to dock and then invading it. They have performed a ritual, and a small band of Thousand Suns, 500 points, have teleported onto this ship. The Fallen are aware of the intrusion, and they must fight to defend their ship and, by extension, their lives. So, for this game, we are using the open war deck, and these are the scenarios. So, essentially, these are the things that are happening with the cards and the game. So, this is a 4 foot by 4 foot board. So, it's the same that way as it is that way. So, we're playing it this way. The Thousand Suns are effectively teleporting into the middle of the lower decks. This is a sort of cargo deck, an engine room doubling as a cargo deck. Very, very small ship. So they will deploy in the centre 18 inches of the board. The Fallen are coming from either side. Don't know yet whether they're all going to pile in on one side and move together as a pack. That will fall out during deployment. But yeah, the Thousand Suns have teleported in and need to eliminate the Fallen. Now, in order to represent the win for this, although this isn't this is called War of Attrition, but really this is just who kills most. This is about fighting for control of the vessel. I did consider using some scenarios with objective counters, but with such a small army and with so few units, I thought what would just happen was they just end up camping on like 1 or 2 each, and that would be the game. So, no, control of this ship involves killing either the inhabitants or the intruders. Those who are victorious will survive. And we're using the objective card War of Attrition. So at the end of the battle, we add up the power rating of the units that have been destroyed. And that is how many points that side gets. So if the Dark Angels kill 8 points worth of Thousand Suns, the 8 powers worth of Thousand Suns, they get 8 points. And so on. There may be demon summoning during the game. Not from the Fallen, because they can't do it. They are not so attuned with chaos. They are no one's puppet. However, the forces of the Thousand Suns may well choose to do that. They may not. That will just depend on how the game goes. This is a story, right? And if that story turns into the Thousand Suns teleport onto this ship and then fill it full of demons and everyone dies, that's what the story ends up being. We shall see. And the twist is this is a last stand. Retreat isn't an option. Everyone in this conflict is on board a small vessel in the Eye of Terror, where warp space blurs with real space, and they must fight to the death. So no units. The way it's phrased is units automatically pass morale tests, so no one is going anywhere. So that's the scenario, the deployment zone, house rules. Let's have a look at these armies. So here we have a little under 500 points of Thousand Suns. So these are from they are members of the Cult of Scheming, which is one of the 9 available Thousand Suns cults and gives them access to different stuff, which I'll go through in a minute. 3 units, 1 unit of Rubric Marines, 9 in total, 1 aspiring sorcerer, and 8 legionaries, exalted sorcerer, and 1 unit of rubric terminators. Again, led by a sorcerer, and then with 4 rubrics. All is dust. So, what do we go to? This is my second game with the Thousand Suns, and oops, I'm going to get the book in sight. I'm not reading; it's a lie. And it's my first game with the Fallen Dark Angels. So this is all lots and lots of super new fun stuff. So what to go through? So first of all, the Exalted Sorcerer. He is obviously the Warlord. He has the relic Jackithil's theorem. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I assume my my Athenaean is flawless. It wouldn't be Athenaean though, would it? It'd be Prosperian. I think the Athenaean is one of the cults, or the Athenaeans are members of one of the cults. I digress. And what this does is once per battle, it lets him use a stratagem for a 0 points cost. This is a patrol detachment, so 2 command points paid, 2 command points refunded, or something like that. That's how it works. The Warlord, his Warlord trait is the Lord of the Forbidden Law, which gives him 1 additional psychic power. So he has 3 psychic powers. Prescience, cast on a unit, gives him +1 to hit. Weaver of Fates, casts on a unit and their invulnerable save goes up by 1 point. Super nice. And Glamour of Tzeentch, cast on a unit, enemies are -1 to hit. The Aspiring Sorcerer, this chap, has Tzeentch's Firestorm, which you roll, when you cast it, you pick an enemy unit, roll 9 dice, and all 6s do mortal wounds. And the Rubric Sorcerer has Doombolt, which does D3 mortal wounds like Smite, but it also makes the unit halve their movement in the subsequent movement phase. The 2 units of the Rubric and the Rubric Terminators, their Smites is Mini Smite. It's 1 mortal wound on casting and D3 on 11 or more. Equipment-wise, these guys have got they've got bolters with Inferno bolts, which are -2 AP, which is super ouchy. 2 of them have Warp Flamers, which are also -2 AP. The rest are bolters. Warp Flamer. They have the WYSIWYG. Everything's WYSIWYG. No, I lie. Everything isn't WYSIWYG. He has a sword, because now in the stats, because these are old models, because the new models all have to have staves and cannot have swords, that's going to use the profile of the staff in combat, even though it looks like a sword. It's magic, in it? It looks like metal, it hits like wood. And the Occult Terminators have all got these close combat weapons. I think they're power swords. I'll have to check, obviously, when I use them. Combi bolters with Inferno rounds, so they are -2 AP. I want to say Soul Reaper cannon. It's kind of like an assault cannon, but it's 4 shots. It's high AP. They don't suffer a penalty to moving and firing those, which is nice. Obviously, I check the stats before I use it. This guy actually does genuinely have a staff. And a Hellfire missile launcher, which is like sort of 2 mini crack missiles in that rack on his back. The rubrics have a rule called All is Dust, which means that if you're firing at them with damage 1 weapons, they add 1 to saves. So these are tough cookies to crack open. Exalted Sorcerer, Relic, Warlord trait, spells. I think that's it. I think that it's just concerning because this is all happening. This is all very quick. This is like 5 minutes. Now I know on some channels 5 minutes you've had the whole army overview by now and you're in the middle of the game. However, I ramble and this feels very short. But it isn't. It's everything. It's only 500 points. The last game I filmed was like 6,000 points. That took a long time. Let's look at the Dark Angels, the Fallen Dark Angels. Okay, so a couple of things to go through on the Fallen Dark Angels before we get into the meat of what they've all got. The first is, this is a Vanguard detachment, so it's 3 elites and Cypher. So normally, taking a Vanguard detachment, that would cost you 3 command points. However, I'm not paying 3 command points for a number of reasons. One is that the reason that different detachments cost extra command points, it's because if you take too many elites, too many of this, too many of that, in competitive play, it unbalances it. And it's a way of evening the balance on more balanced lists as opposed to more min-maxed lists. And for competitive play, absolutely 100% get that. That makes perfect sense. From a narrative perspective, it makes sense if a particular army is fighting in a way they wouldn't normally. So, a regular Space Marine chapter would be deploying, sort of a demi-company of Marines and then extra bits and bobs like heavy support, assault Marines, all that good stuff. And that would be a balanced army and shouldn't cost any extra command points. If a Space Marine captain is taking an elite strike team of veterans or all assault Marines, that is not a normal balanced way of making war. It's in the codex, but it's more difficult. They haven't got the tactical Marines to rely on, they haven't got the balance and so on. And so that, for me, should be slightly more difficult for the general to command. And that's represented through the command points. However, this is the normal way of war for these guys. These are the troops of the Dark Angels, the Fallen Dark Angels. This is what they do all the time. This isn't a different way of war for them. This is normality. So for those 2 narrative reasons, I am not paying the command points for it. And another thing I think it would be quite interesting to talk about just for a minute is, Dark Angels. I said at the start I'm doing the War of the 10 Legions, or the 10 Traitor Legions, and you get a lot of stuff online about, your Dark Angels are traitors, and no, they're not, and so on. And I think it's interesting, right? Because in the Horus Heresy, almost every legion in some part turned traitor or stayed loyal. I mean, there are some that no one betrayed or no one stayed loyal, but not many, right? Now, to take the White Scars as an example. The White Scars had a couple, I think it was a company turned traitor, and they all got brutally wiped out. Conversely, the Emperor's Children. There were battle companies of Emperor's Children who stayed loyal and died in numerous last stands against the War Master. So most legions have both loyalists and traitors. Where the Dark Angels are unusual is they're the only legion where both sides survived the conflict. And as such, in today's game, in the 41st millennium, they are both a loyalist chapter and a traitor legion. So I have no truck with mocking someone's loyalist chapter and calling them traitors, because they're not. They are loyalists. Equally, I have no truck with people saying, Dark Angels aren't traitors. Well, some Dark Angels are. Some Dark Angels did turn, and they still are around today. These guys. So the Dark Angels Legion, the Fallen Dark Angels, are very much Dark Angels traitors. So that's my view on it anyway, and that's I think it's quite an interesting conversation. But either way, I don't like making fun of someone else's army. It doesn't feel right. It's like someone referred to my Layman Russ as a lemon Russ once. I thought that was very rude, very rude. Very rude. Very diminishing of my army. Very sort of belittling. That's the word I was looking for. Belittling. So, no. But these guys, traitors. Fallen Dark Angels, very much traitors. Right, moving on. Because I sometimes don't know how to stop talking. And I'll solve that by carrying on talking. So there's a number of things that this army doesn't have and can't do. So Cypher can never have a Warlord trait. So he doesn't have a Warlord trait. There's no other characters in the army. No Warlord trait. I do have a mind to expand this army to a 1500 point army with a bunch more Fallen, and then like some Dreadnoughts, some Bikes, some Terminators, and then another character or so. Then it will have Warlord traits and relics. Yeah, no relic. he can't have a relic. In the book, it says all of these special characters... no, that's right. It says special characters can't have relics, but it says warlord traits. If you're a special character, you have this warlord trait, this warlord trait, this warlord trait. Cypher. Cypher can never have a warlord trait. Yeah, alright. Okay. He's also no one's puppet, so he isn't. His strings are not being pulled by the ruinous powers, even though he is a traitor and a heretic. So he doesn't do the chaos thing and cannot summon demons. I think that was put in there so you couldn't get, because he's got the Imperium keyword as well. You couldn't get people taking him in an Imperium army and then using it to summon demons. So I think actually, from a chaos point of view, he should be able to. But anyway. I haven't pondered on that for long enough to decide I'm not going to go by it. So yeah, that's happening today. So a couple of interesting things he's got. He's got a special rule called Blazing Weapons. He's got 2 snazzy pistols, which I'll get to the stat lines of when he uses them. But he's got this rule called Blazing Weapons. He can advance and fall back and still fire his pistols, which is nice. He is Lord Cypher, so other fallen units within 6 inches of him can reroll 1s to hit, which is also nice. And he has mysterious protections. Oh yes, that's his special rule. Gives him a 4+ invulnerable save. This is sort of, he's always able to escape from things, and he never quite is dead, and he always seems to slip away. There is something protecting him, but who knows what. And as such, part of that special rule is at the end of a game, you roll a dice, and on a 2+, he's made it away. Which from a game point of view means that he's not counted as a casualty. Now that can be very interesting in games where points and kills are important. I guess in this scenario, if that happens, he's made it to an escape pod and jettisoned. Is probably what would be happening. So that's Cypher. The Fallen, they have the special rule, the Fallen, which means if they don't move in their previous movement phase, they can reroll 1s. It's what Dark Angels got in 8th. I don't know if it's what Dark Angels now get in 9th. It's probably not. But I imagine when whichever codex comes out that refreshes the rules for these guys, I imagine that will be updated to reflect that. Anyway, so unit-wise, we've got, obviously, Cypher, talked about him. 2 units of 6 Fallen, 1 unit of 8. It's 20 in total. This unit here on the right is a shooty unit. The champion has a power sword. The others have there's a heavy bolter, 2 plasma, and 2 bolters. This 6 unit on the left, this is also a shooty unit, but it's a closer up, a shootier unit. The champion has a plasma pistol and a chain axe. There are 2 flames and a melter, along with 2 bolters in the unit. And the unit at the back is punchier. It starts as chainswords and pistols rather than bolters, and there are 2 plasma pistols, a power fist, and the champion in the red robe also has a power fist. And that is the Fallen Dark Angels army. So, all that remains, well, not all that remains, the next thing that remains to happen is deployment. Okay, here we are after deployment. So, the Thousand Suns started deploying first, and not knowing where the Fallen were going to bring in their guns, this unit deployed in the lie of this container, reasonably well shielded on both sides, lines of sight being reasonably well blocked. The Dark Angels then put the big unit of close combat Fallen there, because there are lots of things to hide behind in the run-up. Okay, a couple of the Terminators can see, but when they move, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. The Thousand Suns ended up quite a big deployment zone, bigger than I anticipated, with the big 18 inches around the centre. And the Dark Angels were restricted to 3 inches either side. Kind of wanted the Sorcerer in the middle, protected by being close to both units. So he's in the middle, and the Terminators are there in the lie of those containers. We have a shooty unit of Dark Angels on this side, and the other shooty unit of Dark Angels over here. Don't know how this is going to go. Well, obviously it's a dice game, but sometimes you get an inkling for what's going to happen, and because the Thousand Sons want to get relatively close to rapid fire, and the Dark Angels want to get close to do the same. But neither of them wants to get shot at. Although the Thousand Sons do have the massive advantage in that their guns will punch through the Dark Angel's armour, and the Dark Angel's guns won't punch through theirs because of all his dust. However, there are some nice close combat units, so it really could go either way. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this works, because it's an unusual scenario, it's an unusual deployment, and it's two very small armies, very specific armies. And obviously the inclusion of Terminators in an army this size is quite powerful. However, that's all I've got painted. So that's what... This is the 500 points of 1,000 Suns that I have. So... And not every game is meant to be fair. That's why it's narrative. This is an assassination force who've come in to take these guys out. So we'll see how successful they are. And see who gets first turn. Draw. 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 Dark Angels have the choice of first turn. Do they want to go first? Yeah, I think they do. I think the closer they can close, the sooner they can close the gap, probably the better. So yes, okay. Dark Angels, turn 1. So at the end of the Dark Angels movement phase, this unit has come around this corner to get line of sight on the rubrics. Cypher is sneaking around here but hugging the terrain. And the unit of Fallen are breaking cover. So that, yeah, they can potentially get fire from multiple directions, but he's going to have to make a choice. He's going to have to decide what he shoots at, and there's no way of nipping from cover to cover to cover to... there's no way of staying safe. So, yeah. This unit advanced nearly far enough to get on here and get the flamers and melters in range of them, but not quite. So instead they decided to hug the cover of this container, again, to try and get closer. So, no psychic phase, very little shooting. This unit is going to fire on the unit of Rubric Marines. First of all, Heavy Bolter. It moves to its hitting on 4s. 3 hits. Wounding on 3s. 2 failed wounds. It's damage 2, so all his dust does not apply. -1, save on a 4+. Saves. 2 plasma guns. Both hit. Wounding on 3s. Both wound. -3, but +1, so we're down to saves of 5+, which is they're invulnerable anyway. 1 pass, 1 fail, so that's 1 wound. 2 bolters, 1 hit. 1 wound, 2 up save because of all his dust. Saves. So 1 wound taken off 1 rubric. Uh-oh. So that's it for Dark Angels turn 1. This is going to hurt. And the Thousand Suns have moved, pushing this way to try and separate the Dark Angels' forces, take on this lot at once, and then deal with the others as they come closer. The unit of Rubric Marines has rounded the corner to deal with this large unit. The Rubric Terminators are very slow, so only 2 of them have to come around the corner. Actually, the Aspiring Sorcerer can as well, to get line of sight on these guys. The other 2, actually, one of them can't get line of sight on anyone, and one of them will have to fire on these. So these guys are going to take the brunt of it this turn. So kicking off the Psychic phase, the Rubric Sorcerer is selecting this unit to cast Doombolt on. Casts on a 9. 7. That is a fail. The Aspiring Sorcerer in this unit will attempt to cast Leech's Firestorm on a 7. Also a fail. Okay. So, what is he going to do? Right, first of all then, the Aspiring Sorcerer will cast Prescience on... Sorry, the Exalted Sorcerer will cast Prescience on these guys, these rubrics. And that fails to cast on a 4. What is going on? Maybe they have burnt all their warp juice in the teleportation that got them here. The tides of the Immaterium must be ebbing away from them, bouncing off each other like water and oil. Okay, so we will go for... who's going to get punched in the face? We'll go for Weaver of Fates on the Terminators to up their invulnerable save to a 4+. That's cast on a 6. No, it's failed to be cast on a 4. The warp's not having it. Then we'll go for Glamour of Tzeentch on these guys, on the regular Rubric Marines, because then they'll be -1 to be shot at by Cypher and punched by the Power Fist, should they survive. That is cast on a 7. On an 8, that is successfully cast. They are -1 to be hit at. Okay, then we're spending a command point on the Great Sorcerer, allowing the Exalted Sorcerer to cast another... Hang on, did I try and cast all 3? I did try and cast all 3. That was my mistake. This would have been a 4th. So actually, I've already cast the 3 powers. I was going to smite. Right. Glad I caught that. Okay, so shooting phase. This unit is unloading into these guys. And, just spotted something I need to measure. I've already checked the distance for the... No, I haven't checked this. I've checked the FAQ for the Warp Flamers. And when they changed Flamers, they didn't upgrade Warp Flamers to 12 inches. So it's still only 8 inches. That feels appropriate. So the guy at the back is missing out. But it's just occurred to me he might not be in rapid fire range. In fact... I'll measure it live on camera. That way the video will be long enough. Is he longer than that? Is he? Yes, he is. Okay, so first off, 1 Warp Flamer hitting thrice. Thrice, I tell you. Wounding on 4s. Nice. None. No. Right, 12 shots plus the... Have I put the pistol in? Yes, 12 shots plus the pistol from the Aspiring Sorcerer. They're next to an Exalted. Does he let them reroll 1s to hit? Lord of the Thousand Suns. Yes, he does. How convenient, because there's a shed load of 1s, I tell you. Okay, so that's this many hits. Wounding on 4s. Excuse me. 3, 6 wounds. Saving on 5s because AP -2. 1 save, so 1, 2.5 die. So I'm going to take the nearest 2 and then put the half on this guy. Ouch. Is the pistol in range from the... Yes, okay, so the Sorcerer with his pistol, do they hit on 2s? I would have thought they shouldn't. Yeah, 2s. 4s? Yep. 5s? Nope. He died also. So that's 3 dead thus far. Right, the Terminators. There's 1 combi bolter, 2 combi bolters, 3 combi bolters in here, and then 1 at long range over here, plus the Hellfire missiles. So we'll do those in a second. Okay, ouchie, stingy. Hitting on 3s. Are they rerolling 1s? Are they close enough? Doesn't look like it. Nope. So, again, wounding on 4s. 5. Saving on 5s. No, the roll was no better with those guys as it was with the others. 2 dead guys and a wound on another guy. So that's 5 out of the 20 dead so far. Then 2 combi bolter shots over here. That dice doesn't belong there anymore. 1 hits and doesn't wound. And then 2... I'm going to have to check stats on the Hellfire rack. Look at the table. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to point the camera at the book, you see, so I don't want to do it too often. Hellfire missile rack, heavy 2. They can move and fire heavy weapons. Strength 8. Wounding on 2. So that one's a fail. -2. Saving for 5 up. Come on, make this one. It's a lot of damage. Yes, the armor held for once. Okay, so everything is fired and everything is psychicked. Now, is there going to be any charging? Do I want to... that's a good question. I don't think they want to. It's a long bomb, and no. But do I want the Scarab Occult Terminators to jump out into this shooty unit? I mean, it's measuring and all thinking. I mean, I can't think why they wouldn't. It wasn't initially what I intended, but I can't see why they wouldn't just run out and cut them down with their big curvy swords. So yes, they will. But there was definitely Overwatch. So we'll do the Overwatch first. Plasma guns are being overcharged because Terminators. So the guy with 1 wound first has died. Well, it was quicker for him. The other plasma gun? No. The heavy bolter? No. The bolt pistol? Of course. Wounding on a 4? No. Now, 6-inch charge? No. Okay. Nothing happened except this guy blew himself up. Right then, end of Thousand Suns turn 1. And in battle round 1, 6 of the Fallen are dead and none of the Rubric Marines. I wonder what. No morale, because these guys are fighting to the death because of the twist. I wonder what the Dark Angels can do in return. Let's go on to Dark Angels turn 2. Okay, so this is actually looking pretty interesting. Yeah, so these guys have stayed still because they'll get reroll 1s to hit if they stay still. So they've stayed still. These guys are going to jump at the Terminators because if they assault the Terminators, they will be out of line of sight of these Rubric Marines and they will have to dislocate. Relocate? Dislocate. Wow, shoulder. In order to do something with that. I ummed and ahed about what to do with Cypher. For a while, I thought of bringing him out here to stand behind the cover and just blaze away into there. But then, of course, I realised you could do exactly the same thing from there. He's just hugging the... Not quite positioned him right. He's just hugging the terrain, and he'll get... Because this is not an object. What's the term? An obstacle. So he'll get the cover from there for the return fire, which is important. Well, I say important. It's going to take him down to his vulnerable save anyway. In fact, it matters not. He could be in the middle of the open. Maybe I should have put him in the middle of the open. I couldn't get him to move far enough. To get in range of that unit, he'd have to advance and then they couldn't charge if he'd joined them to do that. And this unit back here got a 5-inch advance. So they have advanced. They can't fire those bolters or that plasma pistol, but the 2 flamers and the melter very much can fire and go into whichever of these units needs the heat. Yeah. Okay, so where to start? Cypher's out of range of the Terminators with his good guns, so he's going to put his pistols into this unit. So we shall start with that now, but I need to go and check it. Remembering, of course, that these are -1 to shoot at because of Glamour of Tzeentch. So he, with his bolt pistol, it's a special bolt pistol. He would normally, it's pistol 3, strength 4, -1, 1 damage. He would normally hit on 2s, so he's going to hit on 3s. However, he will re-roll 1s because he can. So the 2 is a miss, the 1 is a re-roll, and also a miss. Wounding on a 4. That's a flaw, not a 4. Wounds. It's going to be a 2-up save because it's a damage 1 weapon. So it's saved. Let me find that dice. Right, now it's Plasma Pistol. It's an Uber Plasma Pistol. It's Strength 8, -3, 2 damage. So it's like it's overcharged. And it's Pistol 2, but it isn't overcharged, so it can't hurt him. So hitting on 3s because of the Glamour of Zinch. Rerolling 1s. 2 hits. Wounding on 2s. Oh no, it's a 1. Saving on an invulnerable save of 5+. Saved! Zinch protects. Right, next I'm going to do this unit. So they're rerolling 1s because they didn't move. Do the Heavy Bolter first. Hitting on 3s, rolling 1s. 1 hit. Wounding on a 3. No. Overcharged Plasma Gun. 2 hits. Wounding on 2s. 2 wounds. -3. They don't have the +1 because it's 2 damage now. So saving on 5s. No, 2 fails. 2 damage each. So that is a dead Terminator, because they, obviously with everything having +1 wound, they have 3 wounds. So that Terminator is dead. Then a bolt pistol. Hits. Wounds, 2+ save. Saves. Right, now this unit will fire. Overcharging their plasma pistols because they're close to Cypher, who's telling them how to do it properly. Not quite sure how that works. 2 plasma pistol shots, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s. 2 hits, wounding on 2s. 2 wounds. Saving on 5s. No saves, so one of them is down to a single wound. I guess I have to put it on the nearest guy. It's coming from that direction, but it seems right to put it on the nearest guy, to be quite honest. Then we have 3 regular bolt pistol shots. All hit, wounding on 4s. All wound. The Dark Angel guy wants 1, but doesn't get it. Okay, so that's these 3 units having fired. Now the question is, who do I want to victimise with the Flamers and the Melter Gun? It feels like it should be the Terminators, to be quite honest. These guys have got Power Fists. They're going to have 8 Power Fist attacks on the charge. They do 2 damage each. They will only get their invulnerable saves. So actually, these guys might do a not half bad job of killing those. Okay, we're going to put them into the regular rubrics. And we're going to spend a command point on Veterans of the Long War. Because having been through the Chaos deck, it's about the only stratagem that's appropriate to use for the Fallen Dark Angels. So, 2d6 hits with Flamers for 9. Need more dice. Need more dice. I've tidied up. The dice are in proper tubs and stuff now. It feels much more civilized. Alright, 9 hits. Wounding on 3s because of veterans. Ooh, a lot of 1s and 2s. 5 of them, in fact. Because of all his dust, saving on 2s because these are damage 1. All save. Okay. Melter Gun, -1 for Glamour of Zinch, -1 for advancing, so hits on a 5. No. Okay, so that was a poor, lapsing into a little bit of the native Yorkshire there. That was a poor phase. So, do I want to Overwatch with the Terminators? If I could kill one of them, it'll only take out a chainsword. I'm not that bothered about taking out a chainsword. I probably want the command points more for other things. No, I won't Overwatch. 2d6 charge. 4. Oh, tape measure. It looks like a 4-inch charge to me. It is a 4-inch charge. Goodness me. They just about make it in. Right, obviously we will now activate this unit and pile in. We're going to do Status Chainswords first. Try and hack the wound off that last guy. More dice, more dice, more dice, more dice, more dice. So Fawn have got 2 attacks base, +1 for the charge, +1 for the Status Chainswords. Another command point on Veterans of the Long War. Oh yes, oh yes. 12 attacks, hitting on 3s. Death to the guy I don't like? No, probably not. So now they'll wound on 3s because of Veterans. So many 1s. Well, 3 1s. Couple of 3s there, which is handy. -1. So actually this is -1 +1 because they're 1 damage weapons. So it's still 2s to save. So just looking for a single fail there. But we get 2 fails. And actually that is the ideal number because that kills this guy. And then puts a wound on, I'm going to say this guy because I'm going to say that he's sort of nudging the automata in the way. But now we have the 2 Power Fist dudes. Now they will have 3 attacks each, but they're going to hit on 4s. 3 hits. Nice and average. Going to wound on 2s. Sorry, it shouldn't be 1, it should be 2, because he's got 2 wounds left. These are -3, and they're more than 1 damage. These go back to their invulnerable saves of 5+. Fails 2. So kills this one, and puts this guy down to 1 wound remaining. Then they pile in. And let me go and look at what the rubrics can do in return. Okay, so we have 1 rubric with a power sword hitting on 3s. 2 hits. Power sword strength 5, so wounding on 3s. No. Sorcerer, 3 attacks with his force stave. Hitting on 3s. 1 hit. Just the 1 hit. Now these guys technically have the Imperium word, so technically you could say he does Death to the False Emperor, but I'm not having that. Strength is 5, so wounding on 3s. Wounds. -1. No, is it -1? Yeah, -1. Saving on a 4. No, D3 damage for 3. Kills a guy. Kills this guy right in front of him. Okay, again, no morale because of the mission twist. So, let's go on to turn 2 for the Thousand Suns. So after the Thousand Suns have moved, it looks like this. The Sorcerer coming back to put Psychic Might into these Fallen. I could have fallen out and then shot in with them, but then I wouldn't have been able to do the Sorcerer's Psychic Power from this unit. And I would have had to then choose which units to fight with here. So actually I'm staying in and I'm going to Psychic them a lot, and then these are going to shoot those. Kicking myself as I'm looking through all the stratagems. I missed one that I could have used in the last fight phase called Indomitable Foe to increase the rubric's invulnerable save to 4+. So kicking myself for that. But yeah, it happens. So starting the psychic phase, we are going to attempt Doom Bolt by this guy. Now it's a warp charge value of 9, but it's D3 mortal wounds if I pull it off. That's an 8. So close, but yet so far. Right, so he's done. Right, in which case then, the Sorcerer is going to spend a command point on Chaos Familiar to exchange Prescience for Temporal Manipulation, which he is now going to cast on a 6. Which casts on a 6. And that will heal D3 wounds on that Terminator. For 1. Puts the Terminator back on 2 wounds. Every little helps. Then, what's next? What's next? He is going to put Glamour of Tzeentch on who's most likely to get shot. It's not just shot, it's punched, isn't it? He's going to put Glamour of Tzeentch on the Terminators. Because it's not just against shooting, is it? Nope, no, any hit rolls. So that will cast on a 7. No, the warp is so calm. So that's 2 psychic powers cast. Do I want to spend a command point on the Great Sorcerer? I do. Another command point on the Great Sorcerer, and we will smite. On an 11, that is a super smite for 6 mortal wounds, killing 3 of these fallen outright, leaving 1 fallen remaining. Then this aspiring sorcerer is going to attempt to cast Teacher's Firestorm on that unit of fallen on a 7. Failed. The warp is still calm. The Great Sorcerer is managing to tap into it, but no one else is. Okay, and the pain continues. Shooting. The unit of rubrics are going to unload with everything into that unit of fallen. 2d6 hits with warp flamers for 6. Wounding on 4s. 3 wounds, saving on 5s. 2 saves, 1 takes a wound. Just put that there for the time being. Then, as before, we've got 6, 12, 13 shots with Inferno Bolts as a combination of pistols and bolters. Hitting on 3s. Rerolling 1s because they're next to the Sorcerer. No. Wounding on 4s. It's average. Then saving on 5s. 1 save. So that's another 3 wounds, killing 2 in total. Charges. Well, the Exalted Sorcerer goes to charge this remaining fallen and makes it in. Are those Marines going to charge that? No, the amount of Overwatch will incinerate them. There's 2 flamers there. Have I just taken a flamer off by mistake? I have. Whoops. Today's deliberate mistake. Well spotted. So as the Exalted Sorcerer charges, time is blurring around him. He moves like grease lightning. Warp energy flickers from his fingertips and off the edge of his weapon. With his 6 attacks, this hit on 2s. Now, does he reroll 1s? Yep, it's just a flat reroll 1s. So that's 6 hits. Strength is 6. So wounding on 3. That's 3 wounds. Minus... Is it 1? Is it 1? 4 staff? 4 stave? Yes, 1. Saves of 4 up. Fails. Minimum 2 damage. 3 in total. He is dead. And that's it for the fight phase. That's it for battle round 2. The let's see, 5, 8. So how many have they got left? The Fallen have got 7 Marines left, and they've only felled 3 of the Thousand Suns. What can they do? Turn 2. Turn 3. 3. It's turn 3. So the Fallen have moved. Cypher has moved up here. These Fallen running through the flames, the failed Firestorm of Tzeentch, all the warp fire energy, all the corpuscent, all the immaterial forces that are raining down upon them. They march through them fearlessly, intent on cutting the head off the snake. I mean, this guy, he's big, he's floating, he's firing bolts of warp energy and slicing things down. They know the bigger threat. Cypher knows the bigger threat. Rules-wise, he's not within 3 inches. I checked, that's like 3.5 inches. He's not within 3 inches of a unit that's of 5 or more models. So he can be freely shot. So, however, who we're doing first is Cypher, because he's the one with only 1 option. So doing him first. His plasma pistol, hitting on 2. There's no -1 to hit these guys now. No, I tried to cast that before and it failed. Or did it? Hang on. No, just checked. Glamour of Tzeentch did not get cast. So, hitting on 2s with a reroll. 2 hits. Wounding on 2s. Strength 8. -3, so it overrides all his rust, and they have a 5+ invulnerable save. Can I use indomitable foes on them? Is it just when you get punched, indomitable foes? No, by the target of an attack. Okay, command point of indomitable foes. This becomes a 4+ invulnerable save, which doesn't help. One gets saved, the other doesn't, so this rubric dies. And then 3 bolt pistol shots, hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, wounding on 4s even, 2 wounds, saving on 2s, 2 saves. Right, now we come to this unit who are going to light up this Exalted Sorcerer. He doesn't have to be, I'm just making sure I get this right, he doesn't have to be the nearest model because he's not close enough to a big unit. So even though this big unit's closer, he's not close enough to them to get their protection. I think I'm doing that right. Let me know in the comments if I'm doing it wrong. Okay, Veterans of the Long War for command point. 2 hits with the Flamers for 7. Wounding on 3s. That's appalling. 5. Saving on 3s. Both saves. Uh-oh, not going to work. Meltagun. Hits. Wounds on a 2. Punches through his armor save. Invulnerable save of 5+. Which he makes. Plasma pistol. Misses. Nothing. Okay. Maybe they'll go and try and hack him to death. Ah, dearie me, dearie me. Okay. Right then, this unit will put everything into the Scarab Occult Terminator. Let's kill it, kill it, kill it. Yeah, overcharging, and we... Will we veterans? No, we won't. Okay, the plasma gun, first of all. Re-rolls because they didn't move. 2 misses. Heavy bolter. 3 hits. Wounding on 3s. 2 wounds. All his dust doesn't take effects. It's a 2 damage weapon. So wound saving on 4s because -1. So 1 gets through and does 2 damage, leaving him on 1 wound remaining, and he's being shot with a bolt pistol, which hits and doesn't wound. No, veteran. No, I didn't do veterans. Which doesn't wound. Maybe I can run up with Cypher and kick him in the face. Alright, charge phase. Let's run up with Cypher and kick him in the face. Oh, 6. I don't think that's going to be 6. Oh, it's just in, you know. It's just in. Right, and those fallen are going to try and kick the sorcerer in the teeth. Not just the face, very specifically the teeth. So these make it in. Now, oh, there's a thing. Hang on, there's a thing. Right, there is a stratagem called Yoked Automata. It's a 2 command point stratagem. I don't have 2 command points, so I'm going to use my relic that gives me a free stratagem. Basically, if an enemy unit finishes the charge phase within an inch of 1,000 Suns character, then another unit, a Rubric unit, either Rubric Marines or Scarab Occult Terminator unit within 12 inches, can perform a heroic intervention as if it were a character and moves 2d6 inches to do so. So 6 inches. So these guys heroically intervene. Now, they're not going to get to fight first, but they will do something to the survivors, one would assume. Right, so there's not going to be any interrupting because there are not enough command points for interruptions. So we'll do the Fallen on the Sorcerer first. So the champion has 3 attacks, +1 for charging. The others have 2 attacks, +1 for charging, because they don't have the close combat weapons. We are also doing Veterans of the Long War on these guys, because there's nothing else to do with the stratagems for the Fallen. They need some love. They need some love. In the new codex, whatever book they end up in, they need a proper army list, and they need stratagems and all sorts of fun toys. Anyway, the Champione, hitting on 3s. Oh, Cypher's nearby. Or is Cypher just shooting? 1 minute. No, it's all hits. Reroll the 1. Okay, so that's 3 hits. This is a chain axe, so it will wound on 3s plus veterans 2s. Okay, -1, so we'll save on 4s. Fails 1. So he goes down to 5 wounds remaining. It's not looking very likely, is it, guys? Right, the rest of the attacks. Bunch of 2, a lot of 2s. Reroll those 1s. 5 hits. These have all got a wound and fail to save. Wounding on 3s because of Veterans of the Long War. Not happening. Saving on 3s. Fails another 1. Down to 4. Did I get that? Right, yeah, down to 4. Okay. I don't think Cypher's very punchy. Let's have a look. No, Cypher is your basic bog standard close combat weapon. If only he didn't have some kind of moral compunction about using that big sword in his back. But he does. Hitting on 2s, reroll 1s. Okay, wounding on 4s against this guy. One wound. Well, he's got 1 wound left. He could fail. Not likely, though. He hasn't so far. He's failed! So the rubric is slain. And he'll pile in. Why not? Why not, indeed? So now it's the Rubric Marines who heroically intervened. Now, do Rubric Marines get shock assault? I need to go and check that because that's relevant. They do indeed. So that's 8 attacks per... I haven't got the right number of dice in my hand, mate. 4, 8, 12. 4 more. I didn't think that was right. You know why? It's because it wasn't. 2 attacks each. 8 Marines. And should we spend a command point on Veterans of the Long War? Because the spirits inside these suits have been kicking around for a long time. No, let's save that for other things. Hitting on 3s, but they will reroll 1s because of the Lord of the Legion. Wounding on 4s. What is it with all the 2s today? Both sides. So many 2s. Saving on 3 plus power armor saves. 3 fail. Now the sorcerer with his 4 staff. Hits twice. Wounds once. Fails the save. And that's a D3 damage. 1 guy was dead. Another was on 1 wound. So that is 2 of them dead. I may as well take these 2. No, I'll take these 2. Put him back. No, I won't. Stop messing about, Port. Take those 2 there. Okay, got him. Got him. Now, is the sorcerer going to hit the Fallen or Cypher? Who is he most worried by? Who does he not want to be hit by next turn? Ironically, the other Fallen will do more damage. However, it's far more characterful for him to turn around and smack Cypher, so that's what he's going to do. Exalted Sorcerer, 5 attacks. Hitting on 2s, rolling 1s. Strength high is 7 with this 4 staff. So the 2s don't cut it, but the others do. -1, so normal save or invulnerable save, saves a 4+. Makes them all. He is mysteriously protected indeed. Okay, so that was the Dark Angel's turn 3. It's now the Thousand Suns' turn 3. Whoa. Okay, so there's no movement. Everyone's staying exactly where they are. So we're straight on to the psychic phase. The aspiring sorcerer will attempt to cast Zinch's Firestorm. I can't see anything on the card about it not hitting a unit in combat. And that casts on a 7. So that is cast. The one time I didn't have the dice ready. So this is, you roll 9 dice, and for every 6 it does a mortal wound. 1. 1 mortal wound. Right. Now, what's he going to do? Well, he's going to have to cast Temporal Manipulation to try and heal himself. That is a perils. However, there is a stratagem called Adepts of the Immaterium that means if you take a perils, you don't perils. So there goes one command point. We'll now... What do we want to do? Do you want to make it... So I can do 2 out of these 3. I probably want to smite. Let's smite. 4. No smite. Do I want to spend my last command point to try and get one of these other buffs? I don't think Weaver of Fates is going to do me any good because I'm not going to be using my invulnerable save because none of these guys are close combat specialists. So I will use my last command point on the Great Sorcerer to attempt Glamour of Tzeentch on myself, i.e. the Exalted Sorcerer, to make me harder to hit. On a 4, not cast, the warp is calm. Okay, so we're going to have 2 Inferno Bolt Pistols, one from the Sorcerer into the Fallen. So the one from the Sorcerer hits on a 2, wounds on a 4, wounds -2, fails to save, kills this guy. And then the one from the Aspiring Sorcerer hits, wounds, fails to save, puts a wound on the champion. So now it's a Thousand Suns' turn, so the other guy gets to go. So Cypher will try and hit the Great Sorcerer again on 2s. He's not -1, but rerolls the 1. Wounds on 4s. 2 wounds. Saving on 3s. 1 gets through. Takes him down to 3 wounds remaining. Now the Rubric will go and finish that last guy. We'll do the Aspiring Sorcerer first. Hits twice. Wounds. Fails his save because it's -1. No. -1 passes his save. So now it's the 8 Automata. 2, 5, 6, 8. Oops. Hitting on 3s. Reroll the 1. Wounding on 4s. Saving on 3s. All save. He lives. In which case, he is going to hit the Great Sorcerer. 3 times. Wounding on 3s. 3 times. He saves on 3s. No, it couldn't, could it? No, it couldn't. He takes 1 more wound and is down to 2. However. Yes, sorry. I mean, I'm a little bit speechless. So it's now Fallen turn 4, because all that combat's been done. There's no morale. So we're now on to Fallen turn 4, and I think if I, because these guys are a blur of combat, if I, what I'm debating is if I fall out with the 1 Fallen who's left, then these guys over here could put some fire down into those Rubric Marines. And Cypher can possibly just shoot this guy in the face and kill him. Okay, he will then get lit up the following turn. But or I mean, can they really shoot past that combat? Is that I don't know that feels right to do that. But what might feel right was him falling out to not get brutally murdered. I'm pretty happy with that. Can't quite get out of line of sight with his regular 6-inch movement. Of course, he can't advance because he's falling back. These Marines have gone to hug the cover. Maybe a little bit closer, mate. Yeah, there you go. They've gone to hug the cover. Because when that fight's finished, they need to start hunting those things. Right, so we're on to the shooting phase, and Cypher's going to shoot the Exalted. He's going to fire all his pistols in the Exalted Champion's face. Although, he can fall back and fire. So, actually, do I fall back? 1 minute. So yeah, I think that's his thing. Going in, messing stuff up, falling back and firing. He's a blur. He's an absolute blur. So now, whilst the Exalted Sorcerer is now within 3 inches of a large enough unit to protect him, he's still the nearest model to Cypher. So Cypher's still going to shoot him in the face. 3 shots with his bolt pistol. Hitting on 2s, rerolling the 1. Strength 4, toughness 4. No wounds there. His plasma pistol. Wounding on 2s. Both wound. So he has saves, 2 invulnerable saves of 5+, must make them both or he dies. Fails them both, and the Exalted Sorcerer is taken out. And this, all of a sudden, is starting to take a turn. I did not envisage this happening. Okay, so we're now on to... there's no charging, obvs. So we're now on to Thousand Suns turn 4. So not much thinking time with only 1 unit left. The Rubric are advancing on their quarry. We're going to attempt to smite him to death. If we pull that off, all the fire goes into Lado here. If not, I'll split the fire. So first off, smite. 4! No, okay. Right, so shooting phase. What is enough to kill 1 Fallen? I can always charge him if I fail to kill him. I didn't fall back. Yeah, blow it. Or 1... But... See, I don't think it's particularly narrative to leave him there and shoot past him. Or is it? No, I suppose they're just marching inexorably forward, shooting this guy a lot. Actually, no, there's 2 guys who'd have to draw a line of sight partially through the falls. You know what? Those 2 will fire at him. Everything else into Cypher. So the 2 that are firing at the Fallen. No reroll 1s. Winning on 4s. No, 1. 1 save or 5+ or die. He went for die. Unusual choice, but you know, each to their own. 2 Warp Flamers into Cypher. They're both in range for 6 hits. Winning on 4s. 3. 4+ invulnerable saves. 2 fail. So this time he takes some damage. Cypher has 6 wounds. So 4 to go. Then if 2 of the guns are fired that way, that leaves... Come on, Paul. 8 minus 2. No, it's 8 minus 4 is 4 is 8. 9! 9 shots! 9 shots. So 4 rubrics and the pistol from the sorcerer. Okay, so that's 5 hits. Running on 4s. 3 wounds. Can't kill him. Saving on 4+ invulnerable. 2 fail. 2 wounds remaining. Do we charge? I think we have to. We need to run him down. It's a 5-inch charge. I didn't fall back. It's a 5. I roll a 4. Okay. So, turn 5 for the Dark Angels. Let me have a think. Okay, so leaping back into the fray, they leap around the corner, join up with Cypher, and are going to fire, 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 and then charge. So, first off, the unit Fallen are going to fire. They're going to overcharge the plasma gun. Reroll the 1s because of Cypher. 2 hits, wounding on 2s. 2 wounds, saving on 5s. 1 save, 1 fail. The one that fails will kill the guy who's already on 1 wound. 3 heavy bolter shots. 2 hits, winning on 3s. No. Pistol. Hits. Doesn't win. Right, Cypher. His plasma pistol. 2 shots. 2 hits even. Wounding on 2s. Both wounds. Saving on 5s. 1 fail, 1 save. Kills 1 outright. I should be taking them from the front. But that's the Flamer. And I might want to Overwatch. I have got a command point to Overwatch with. Oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah, take from the back. Get charged. Flame them to death. Good. And the Cypher's Bolt Pistol. 2 hits. Wounding on 4s? No. Okay. So, yep, charge. Single charge for 10. They make the charge. So, we are going to have Overwatch for a command point. So 2 hits with the flamer. 0 for 4. That's not good if you're 1,000 Sun. 2 wounds. Saves a 5+. No, that kills one of these guys. Maybe they just shot that plasma gun that he's been thumbing the trigger on. And then how many? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 shots with the others. Looking for 6s. Ooh, 2. You never know. Might kill the other guy. No, both fell to win. Okay, did I roll the charge already? I think I did, but either way, that's enough. Okay, the other guy doesn't have enough to interrupt with. We've got 2 command points left. We're going to spend them on Veterans of the Long War with both units. So the Fallen unit first. The champion has a base 3 attacks +1 for his for charging, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s, 3 2s, wounding on 3s with the power sword and veterans to 1. It's not their night. The guy with the heavy bolter, 3 hits, wounding on 3s, 2 wounds, but it's a 1 damage attack, so it saves on a 2. Yes. Okay, and then Cypher, reroll the 1, 5 hits, wounding on 3s because of veterans. 3 2s. What is it with all the 2s today from both sides? 2 saves, 2 up. Oh, 1 failed. One of them's got a wound on him. All right, now their turn to pile in and attack back. So they got charged. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Rubric Marines. So that's how am I going to split them? 3 guys can go into Cypher, so 3 guys will go into Cypher. The other 3 guys, that's for 6 Rubric Marines. The other 3 guys will go into the Fallen. And the Sorcerer, who's he nearest to? He's nearest to Cypher, so he'll go into Cypher. All right, the 3 guys into Cypher. 3 hits, wounding on 4s, 1 hit. Saving on a 3. Saves. The Sorcerer into Cypher. 2 hits, wounding on 3s. 2 wounds, saving on 4s. Both saved. He is a tank. He can't kill anything, he's a tank with no gun. And into the Fallen. 3 hits, wounding on 4s. Nothing. Right. 1,000 Suns turn 5. Okay, so if we back off, we won't lose any more guys, but we can either shoot nor psychic. If we don't back off, they will go first. But if we don't, we might be able to kill Cypher. We still might be able to wipe them. That Sorcerer does D3 damage. He could kill Cypher. In which case, we'll go for a Zinch's Firestorm on Cypher. Cast on a 7 in the psychic phase, and we'll stay still. 6. That is the story of the psychic phase for this game. Alright, 1 pistol into Cypher. Shooting phase. Hits. Doesn't wound. Right then. From the ongoing combat, the other guy gets to pick an ongoing unit first. We'll pick the Fallen. So there's 3 attacks from the guy with the power sword, hitting on 3s. 1 hit, 1 reroll. 2 hits, wounding on 3s. 1 wound. Saving on a 5? No. Well, there was a guy on 1 wound, so that kills him. And the 2 random attacks from the guy who isn't the champion. 2 hits. No wounds. Right then. Now, so it's 2 guys into Cypher plus the Sorcerer. No one was charged. So the 2 guys. 2 hits, 2 wounds, 2 3+ saves. Now the sorcerer. 1 hit, wounding on a 3, 1 wound, saving on a 4+ invulnerable, fails, D3 damage. For 3. So Cypher is grievously wounded. We'll come back to him in just a moment. And then 3 guys on the units of Fallen. 1 hit, 1 wound, failed save. He's got 1 wound left. Now Cypher has the Mysterious Protector rule. So even though he's been slain for rule purposes, on a 2+, he doesn't count as dead for game purposes. There we go. A 1. He counts as slain for the purposes of victory conditions. And that is the last dice roll of the game. At the end of turn 5, there is a unit of Rubric Marines left and a unit of Fallen. Let me go and look at the power. So when everything is added up, the Thousand Suns killed 24 powers worth of Fallen Dark Angels. And the Fallen Dark Angels killed 18 powers worth of Rubric Marines, making this a victory for the Thousand Suns. Now, one thing I obviously noticed when I was adding up the points is because my Fallen were in unusual sizes, a couple of units of 6, which made them an extra 4 power per unit. Even if I'd not added the extra 1 on, if I'd sort of said, well, it's still 20 in total, so cause that's the odd thing with power, right? Because it really sort of rounds up. So the Dark Angels had more power, even though they had fewer models. They could have had more models and still have the same power. But even if I'd adjusted it for that, which I wasn't going to, but I ran through it in my head, what would the difference be so I could talk through it, it would still have been a 19-18 victory for the Thousand Suns. So, on this frigate, the Fallen Dark Angels are overcome by the Thousand Suns' onslaught. The Exalted Sorcerer, his etheric forces start to knit his body back together as he rises triumphant with his prize, Cypher, in a cage to take him off and do whatever his grand scheme required of it. Of course, he'll probably find when he comes into the cage one day, it's empty. Well, that's the end of that 500-point narrative game. I hope you all enjoyed it, enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed playing it. It was lots of fun. I have to say, I really, at one point, thought the Dark Angels were going to get absolutely massacred. But it was really close in the end. There was turns sort of 3, 4, and 5, there really was a lot of tussling, and there were some good actions by each side. Some good dice rolling, some whiffing. It was really good. It was really good. I definitely want... Well, I want this. I've got 42 armies I've counted now. They keep growing all the time. So I really want the Dark Angels to be a bigger army. I want them all to be bigger armies, but the Dark Angels would play nice as a bigger force, maybe with, some bikes, some Terminators, filling out these units so it's 3 units of 10, maybe a Dreadnought, and either another character, Sorcerer or a Lord or something, maybe a Rhino. That would going out to 1,500 points. That'd be a really nice list. A really nice army, really thematic. That'd be really cool. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you like this battle report and want to see more of them, if you want to see more of the series of the War of the 10 Legions, there are, I think, 7 others. I think it's around that number. In the members lounge for channel members, which is accessible through the channel membership options. Level 2 channel memberships will be the one you would need for a narrative battle report each week, every week, in addition to the ones on regular YouTubes. There are also some other options in there as well. Or if you just want to support me in general, that's a good way of doing it. Anyway, I'll finish advertising to you, and everyone stay safe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.